Okay. Hi, I'm Sophia. I don't know what I'm doing. I know I'm filming a video, and I've done this before, but it was awkward back then, and I haven't done this in a while. So, still awkward, still something to work on, but we're working on it. But yeah, hi. We're here to talk about movies. Lately, life has been a bit weird. There has been a lot going on, so I kind of wanted to escape life a little bit, just a tiny bit. And to do that, I decided to watch a lot of movies. I love cinema, so it makes sense for me to watch a lot of movies. It's not that many, don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like some cinephiles watch like a lot of movies, like a lot of them. I just usually don't see that many. This time I watched a bit more than normal. Because of that, I have a lot of feelings about these movies. I want to talk about them. This is just me screaming in the void, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing. This is a list of the movies I watched in January, and I'm just gonna say a little tiny bit of every movie. There are gonna be spoilers, not in all. I'm gonna say it before. I'm gonna make it skippable, so it's all good. It's all good, man. The first movie that I've seen in 2025 was Slayers. I watched a lot of vampire movies this January, mostly because of Nosferatu, but still. Anyway, I wanted to watch a movie about vampires, and the name was literally Slayer, so what's more perfect than that?
It's vamp time.
It was such a bad movie. Wouldn't recommend anyone watching it, but if you want, it's on Amazon Prime. Anyway, what's the plot? What's the plot of this amazing movie? It's this group of vampires that tries to get some influencers, like influencer brand trip thing, but instead it's not really a brand deal or a brand trip or anything like that, because they're vampires. Apparently in this universe, vampires don't live forever. They just age very, very slowly, but they can move their consciousness from one body to the other. It's weird. I don't necessarily like it, because I feel like that's the one point about vampires. You know, vampires live forever. That's the thing. That's the appeal. Like, they drink blood and they live forever. And while these influencers are going there, there's vampire slayer guy that tries to save them, even though he hates them. He keeps talking shit about them. I feel like, let them die. The protagonist is one of these influencers, but she is not like other girls. She's cool and edgy because she's a gamer influencer. So it's just a very cynical movie. It seems to hate on everything it stands for, if it makes sense. Just because we hear everything from the narration of the main guy, which is this Slayer, and he hates the influencers. He hates them so much, so he keeps talking shit about them, and then it keeps talking shit about vampires, and I think also about vampire movies. He's like, oh, this is not gonna be a cliche movie like that because I'm edgy and cool and blah 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 blah. And I feel like, you know, it's a bit too cynical. I like when movies are passionate about what they're talking about, but if you talk shit about everything you're talking about, then what's the point? Just make a movie about something else. I guess they made this movie to complain, so they're passionate about complaining. Also, it didn't feel like a movie. It just felt very off. Like, the editing was just so insane, and like the sound effects they used, it honestly seemed more like a glorified YouTube video, like those very high production YouTube videos from 2016, 17. They used like the this effect, this sound effect. They used it all the time, and I've never seen a movie do that before. It was a bit like a fever dream, but not in a nice way. It's like when you have a very bad fever and you should be sleeping, but instead you're watching a movie, and that's how it felt. The second movie is Black Sabbath. I've been watching a lot of Italian horror movies because I think they're very fun. I'm Italian, so Italian culture right here. It's fun. I like them. I think we should go back to making them. They're very funky. Some of them are straight up bad. Some are very charming, and Black Sabbath is one of them. Black Sabbath is honestly just a very well done movie. It's very creative. Also, it's a collection of 3 short stories, which I really like. I really like collections of stories. I think they're fun. The first story was about this girl that is being stalked. She gets a phone call by someone that is watching her and knows whatever she's doing. So she's very scared. So she calls her friend. They're not friends anymore. She calls her and she's like, hey, I'm sorry, we're not friends. I know I told you I don't want to talk to you anymore, but can you come over? I'm scared. And she comes over and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, their relationship was quite queer coded to me, but yeah, I liked that. I think it was fun, though. Like, the only thing is this first story doesn't really fit with the other two because it's not supernatural. It's very clear from the beginning that it's like a stalker guy, so it's very like realistic, scary thing. The second story was definitely why they made the movie. It took like the vast majority of the screen time of the movie. It was the main show, you know, and it was about this kind of vampire creature. Basically, the protagonist of the story finds the head of like a random guy, so he brings it to a tavern, an old-timey tavern, and the owner of the tavern is like, oh my god, yes, this guy that has been decapitated is basically a vampire. My dad was supposed to kill him, but my dad is not home yet. He told me he was gonna be home on this very day. If he wasn't home by this day, he told us not to open the door for him because then the vampire probably bit him and made him a vampire as well. The dad of the tavern owner actually comes in and is like, hey, can you let me in? But it has been past midnight, so technically it's not on the day that he was supposed to be back anymore. And he had clearly told his children, don't allow me in even if I'm a minute late. And he was a couple of minutes late, you know, so they still allow him in, and then you can imagine how that goes. Spoiler, it was a vampire all along. It's very clear. I don't think it needs a spoiler warning. It's very obnoxious about being creepy, you know, like it looks creepy, it sounds creepy. I don't understand why they allowed them in. I honestly think they shouldn't have. The third story is kind of about ghost. It's a good story, less strong than the other two. The runtime is very, very short. I think it's the shortest of all 3 stories as well. I think it's a least fun one. But yeah, I think in general this movie was very well done. I thought the cinematography looked fun and funky and very well done. Also, it has a creepy guy introducing the stories. I really like it. I think it's fun, but again, as established, I like this type of movies, so that's maybe why. The third movie I watched this year was Strawberry Mansion. Very fun movie. I really enjoyed it. I was basically set in this kind of futuristic alternative universe where, first of all, everything looks old-timey, but we pay taxes for our dreams. That's the futuristic elements. The protagonist goes to this strawberry mansion because the lady hasn't paid the taxes for her dreams in a long time. And then trouble ensues. Very good movie. I liked it a lot. I watched it with my dad. He didn't agree. He didn't like it because it's a weird movie. It's a very weird movie. But I enjoy weird movies. I think movies were made to be weird, just a tiny bit, weird. It definitely needed improvement, don't get me wrong, it's not like the best movie ever. The plot wasn't as strong or powerful as it could have been. It had a lot going on for it, and it kind of lost itself maybe a bit. Maybe also it lost itself in its aesthetic. I feel like its aesthetic was definitely the strongest aspect of this movie, because it looked stunning, very crafty and unmade, and you could tell it was made with love, which I think made up for like the plot that wasn't that great. I think if you like weird movies, I would recommend it. Then we have Anatomy of a Fall. Since it came out, people have been raving about it. I'm just lazy and I hadn't watched it until now. But it was a very good movie. I get the hype. I get why people liked it a lot. The plot is this German lady lives in France with her son and her husband, and at one point the husband is found dead. It's unclear if he killed himself or if it was pushed by a window, because he fell from a window. That's how he died. So they start a trial because they think that the wife might have killed him. The trial itself wasn't that interesting, at least to me, because I don't know, I thought it was very clear from the beginning that, spoiler, the wife didn't kill the guy. I know it seems like a terrible excuse, but she just didn't seem like someone that would kill him. And when they show like the gotcha evidence of like the recording of her screaming at her husband, it still didn't feel like that she was mad enough to kill him. It seemed like a regular bad fight between spouses. Of course, it wasn't like a normal fight, but it didn't seem too abnormal. Maybe I've just been around very bad couples. It could honestly be it. But to me, it didn't seem like a fight worth killing someone. And also, like, I watched this movie also with my dad, and he's a judge, and he told me like, yeah, this trial doesn't make any sense because there's just not enough evidences. So he also said it, and he's a judge, so I'm right and everyone else is wrong. Still, I thought it was a stunning movie with a stunning message. It's about a marriage where two people just, like, the two people in the marriage just cannot communicate with each other. They're too hurt by life in general to understand what they're saying. They're just on two different planes of existence. They cannot really coexist in this relationship. And besides that, I think it's about how you shouldn't judge a whole relationship just by its roughest and darkest point. That's what the protagonist keeps saying. She's like, cannot judge the whole relationship by this. I don't want my child to remember our marriage just by this single trial and see all the dark, terrible things, because then I'm afraid he's not gonna see the beauty, because that's what the husband did as well. He forgot about the beauty of their marriage and only focused on the darkest parts. At least that's how I saw it. The next movie was Nosferatu in Venice, another Italian horror movie. Insane movie. I watched this movie thinking it was going to be a sequel of the 1970s Nosferatu movie, because the actor that plays Nosferatu is the same in both movies. But yeah, it wasn't. Italians have these things. They have this thing of making horror movies that are very cheaply made, like cheaper than American movies, and they advertise them as sequels of other horror movies. Well, they're not. So it's a thing we tend to do with our cinema. We used to, at least. End of the story. It's not a sequel. It's just another Nosferatu movie, and it's about these vampire experts that goes to Venice and goes to this particular house where I think that's where Nosferatu had lived like a long time ago. So it goes there, and I honestly didn't understand half of the plot of this movie, but from what I understood, he decides to summon Nosferatu so that the people of that house would be safe. But it doesn't make sense to me because just the people of that house were never in danger. Nosferatu wasn't there. Like when they summon him, he's on the other side of the world basically, and he was sleeping. They woke him up and basically told him to come back to Venice. They all deserve to die. They did that to themselves. I don't understand what the problem was. After that, shit happens. You know, it's a Nosferatu movie. You can imagine what happens. What you cannot imagine is what the fuck happened in the making of that movie. It was insane. First of all, there were 3 different directors that worked on this movie, and you can really feel that, you know. Then we have the design of Nosferatu itself. Again, they used the same actor as the 1970s one, so I was very surprised that they didn't put him in the same makeup, or like at least a similar makeup. But apparently the actor just refused to wear the makeup, so it just looks like a normal dude. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part was that the actor, whose name I keep forgetting, he literally sexually assaulted 2 girls on set because he did it on camera, and some of that ended up going in the final cut of the movie. It's in the movie, and I didn't know that while watching it, but because of that I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Weird. I don't like that. Weird movie. It ends with us. Okay, I don't have that many opinions on this movie. I thought it was a pretty average, boring movie. Not that good, not that bad. Like, it wasn't as atrocious as people were saying, in my opinion. It was like regular, boring, kind of badly made rom-com. Is it romanticizing toxic relationship? Yeah, it is. But I knew that, so I wasn't too surprised. I also didn't really keep up with the allegations of what happened on set, so I cannot really talk about it. I'm gonna say just 2 things. First of all, the clothes were very, very ugly. People prepared me for a lot about that movie, but they didn't prepare me about the outfits. It's like, what the fuck was going on half of the time, if not all the time? Who dressed these people? Finally, the only thing I could think about during the whole movie is that paragraph that Colleen Hoover wrote about like, a baby having big balls. And that's the only thing memorable about this movie, honestly. Vampiros Lesbos. This movie I wanted to watch for like ages and ages and ages. It was a pretty okay movie. I had very high expectations about it, honestly. Maybe because of that I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to enjoy it. Still, it was sexy lesbian vampires being hot. So yeah, that's all I could ask for, honestly. So yeah, still a pretty good watch. Then after all these vampire movies, we finally have the new Nosferatu. Yay! As you can clearly see, I'm a fan of vampire movies, and I watched both the 1920s Nosferatu and the 1970s one, and I guess also Nosferatu in Venice. How many real Nosferatu fans can say they've watched that one? I hope not that many. I was very hyped for the new Nosferatu. I'm very happy. I'm very happy I watched it. I thought it was an amazing movie. I thought it was perfect. It was everything I could dream of, honestly. I don't have anything negative to say about it. Besides the mustache, I didn't really like the mustache on Nosferatu. I understand that he made it more visually interesting, and it was like when he sucks the blood and like it all gets in the mustache, it's quite gross, which I guess is the point. But I don't know, it just raises too many questions for me. It's like, does he shave? Does he trim his little mustache like every night? What's the deal with the mustache, you know? I went with some friends and I was the only one that liked it. And I don't know, I've heard some negative reviews by other people being like, oh, it's a bit boring, it's the same plot as Dracula, or it's too sexy, or it's not sexy enough. And I don't agree. I think I'm the only one that gets Nosferatu. I'm the only one. It was made for me, no one else. know, but it also got like a lot of praises. So I think it's just personal taste, which makes sense. But honestly, it was perfect for me because it was made for me. So don't have much to add to the whole conversation, to be honest. Adaptation. Fun movie with Nicolas Cage is one of like those few Nicolas Cage's movies that are actually good. I don't understand why they don't give Nicolas Cage more good movies, but what they do is good. It's good. What can I say? I just adored how absurd the whole thing is. I just really like weird movies again and absurdist movies, and I felt like this was one of them. I thought it was pretty dope, and yeah, I just really love seeing Nicolas Cage being a pathetic little boy, because it's just like me for real. That's me having to make stuff. Literally my creative process. It's me whining. So no, I thought it was very relatable, maybe not in a good way, but it was fun. After that, I watched the newest Wallace and Gromit movie. I have to admit, I never watched a Wallace and Gromit movie before. I honestly didn't know anything about them, and this movie, it references other movies, at least one other, but yeah, I just was a bit confused. Still enjoyable, I still really liked it. Then there's The Illusion. It's this Italian movie that just got released by these two very famous Italian comedians, Ficarra e Picone. Great comedic duo. They're from Sicily, where I'm from. The movie was this period drama about the unification of Italy, starting from Sicily. So it's when Garibaldi came with all his troops to Sicily so that we would become part of Italy. It was a pretty well made movie, at least from like production level, I think. The costumes looked amazing. They had boats, they had carriages, everything looked pretty fantastic and on point. I think Sicily is a stunning place for movies to be made, in a way, if it makes sense. It's a great backdrop. Just we have such beautiful and stunning landscapes, so I'm always very happy to see them on the big screen. I do think this plot of this movie got a bit lost. Like, honestly, it didn't need to be this long. Besides that, the topic was quite interesting. The unification of Italy for Sicily meant a lot of things, and not necessarily always good. After we became part of Italy, we kind of got marginalized in a way, and they didn't send us any funding, and that led to the creation of what would later become mafia. So it's quite interesting to explore that, but I don't think they did it in a way that was necessarily very deep or good. And it would have been fine, you know, some movies are just not that deep, it's okay. But I think this movie wanted to be deep. The Apprentice, I really liked the cinematography. I think the story was well done. The acting was impeccable. It was terrifying. Just so fucking scary, considering the whole political climate. Because, you know, I'm not American, but still, American politics affect everyone. So that's fun. Nana. If you don't know, it's basically the story of these two girls that meet on a train going to Tokyo, and they have the same name, so they become best friends and flatmates and maybe lovers. It was a good movie. It was very charming. I usually don't like movies about anime, or like live action movies about anime. I prefer when they are animated, because I think they're made to be animated. And I think maybe this is also the case for this movie, but I've never seen the anime, so I don't know. Still, it was pretty good. I really liked it. I thought it was charming, and honestly, I wasn't too bothered by the fact that everyone looked a bit like they were doing cosplay, because I guess they technically were. Is costuming in movies just cosplay? So Vi was a fun watch. I expected to like it, and I liked it. So that's perfect. I had a grand old time. I really like kind of crappy looking special effects. I love when you can see they're handmade and you can see how they work, and I don't know, I just find it very charming. This movie was definitely this, especially the second part. The first part was a bit boring, but you know, the good shit happens, and then I'm like, okay, perfect. It was worth the wait. It was definitely worth the wait. Also, it was super interesting because I believe this was the first horror movie ever made in the Soviet Union. I'm not completely sure. I also just really like movies about witches and vampire movies, and this one had a witch summoning vampires, so that was fun. Vampire Circus, another vampire movie. I have a problem, but no, it was fun. It was a fun movie. Nothing much, to be honest, just a lot of vampires being freaky and sexy and very horny, and all that happening mostly at a circus. So what more can you ask for? I think it's amazing. I think it's great all time. We have the Nana 2. Fun. Yeah, the Nana movie was separated in 2 parts. They were released 1 year apart from each other, but it's basically the second part of the anime/manga. I don't want to spoil anything about Nana, but yeah, people who have seen the anime or read the manga will know that the second part is tough. It's tough. A lot happens, and honestly, this is my worst nightmare. What happens to Achi, my worst nightmare. But yeah, cool movie. If you want to have fun, watch the first one. If you want to be sad, watch the second one. That's all I can say. Then we have Alice Through the Looking Glass, and it was a very fun movie. I keep saying that for every movie, that I just like fun. Sorry. No, but like, yeah, that's kind of how I measure movies. If they're fun to watch, I like them. If I have to be completely honest, I put this movie in the background while I was doing some work stuff, so I didn't pay attention to it that much. Still enough. I still paid attention, just not as much as I could have had. Super fun movie. Again, I'm very big fan of like very crappy special effects. I really like handmade special effects where you can really tell that they were crafted and like by very creative hands. They also had a lot of visual effects like CGI, but it was very bad CGI. So that's my favorite type of CGI. It's like the 90s one. Lovely, very charming, very surrealist, very fever dreamish, but in a good way. Not like a bad fever dream, like the best fever dream you ever had. After that, we have Frankenhooker. Great movie. One of my new favorite movies. It's amazing. It was honestly so much fun. The story about this inventor guy that invents things but is not that good. So he basically made this lawnmower, and he's showing his girlfriend's family about this lawnmower, and again, he's not that good of an inventor, so the lawnmower just kind of kills his girlfriend in a tragically and brutal accident. So yeah, he decides then to like grab as many parts of her as he can, and he decides to make a Frankenstein monster to bring her back to life. But to do that, he basically has to find other body parts, so he decides to hire different hookers and kill them. But yeah, it's a dark comedy. It's honestly very, very funny. The jokes are pretty great. The protagonist, is it named Victor? Probably something like that. He can never be on the same level as my queen Frankenhooker. I don't remember her actual name, but she's amazing. She is great. It's the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. It's very funky and weird, and I love it. The ending is feminism. They invented feminism with that ending. Then I went to the cinema with some friends to watch A Complete Unknown. My friend asked me to go because she wanted to watch it, and I was like, okay, I want to spend time with you, let's go. I was happy that I spent time with my friend, but that's where the whole thing ends. I know just a couple of songs of Bob Dylan. I'm not like a big fan of him. I don't really know him. And I'm not a big fan of biopics. I kind of don't like them. I think they rely too much on the fame of the actual person, and they forget to make a good movie out of it. And I think that's exactly what happened here. I was not invested while going in. I was open-minded, so I didn't go in being like, oh, I'm gonna hate this movie. I was like, maybe I will be pleasantly surprised, but I wasn't. So also, making a movie about a guy that notoriously doesn't like talking about himself, it's boring. Like, even in the movie, they're like, hey Bob, can you tell us more about you, because we don't know anything about you? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay. What was I supposed to feel when that happened? I was like, okay, I guess I'm not learning anything about Bob Dylan's life. Cool, thank you for that, Bob. Blood Sisters, Leather, Dykes, and Sadomasochism. I had to read it on my notes because I was not going to remember that title. But amazing movie. It's this awesome documentary about the Leather Dykes scene in the 90s, and it's amazing. It's so stunning. It's made like it's an art piece. The editing, and it's just, again, I think it's art. And besides that, the topic was very interesting. I know nothing about the queer community of the 90s. It was quite fascinating seeing how it was back then. The people that participated in the documentary and spoke to the camera and told you everything about the leather dyke community. I thought they were very good speakers. They said some very, very interesting things. And I wish them all the best because they seemed great people. So I hope they're doing well. They Live. This movie was on my watch list for a long, long time, and I really, really wanted to see it, and I really, really wanted to like it. And I didn't dislike it. I thought it was a good movie. I just didn't like it as much as I wanted to like it, which is sad, but I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I don't really like movies with men. If 90% of the runtime has like a vast majority of men, I just get a bit bored. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. I cannot do anything about it, and neither can you. I'm sorry for hating men, I guess. I don't hate men. I don't hate men. I just really love women, I guess. I don't know. Besides that, I watched the movie on YouTube, which would be fine. I watched a lot of these movies on YouTube, honestly. But the problem was that every 6 minutes, and I counted that, so it was literally every 6 minutes, there was an ad break, which made it impossible to watch. It was like a fever dream. It was like this movie going against capitalism and saying like ads were brainwashing you. And then every 6 minutes, it got interrupted by an ad. I felt like I was going insane. I was like, where's my pair of sunglasses? I need it right now. Kunk on Life. What can I say besides the fact that it was a very fun watch? I enjoyed myself. I laughed a lot. It's a fun movie. I like Philomena Kunk. I think she's a funny character. Good movie. Would highly recommend. If you like comedies, at least. Tetsuo the Iron Man. Cool movie. Cool as fuck. Also, what the fuck did I just watch? It was so weird. But as we established, I love weird movies. So, great combo. I was going to the airport and it was gonna take me an hour, and this movie was about an hour long. So I decided to watch it on the bus. Terrible idea. terrible idea. Wouldn't recommend watching this in public. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. I had to stop. At one point, I was starting to become paranoid that people were looking at my screen. Like, I was far away from everyone. No one probably cared. But I was like, not a good idea. Not good, not smart. Wouldn't recommend. So I actually watched this into like 3 different sittings, which is probably not the recommended way to watch this. But still, that's how I experienced it, and even I had fun. It was still a fun watch. Not fun. I wouldn't say fun, but interesting. It was an interesting watch. But yeah, very gory. It's about this guy that has a weird fetish for like metal. For something very disgusting that he did, he has to go to the hospital. So while he's running to the hospital, he gets like hit by a car of this businessman guy, and basically because the businessman hit this guy and then buried him, the businessman gets a curse on him and becomes like this metal guy monster, this Iron Man, if you will. So very disgusting, a lot of body horror, a lot of like gruesome, very disturbing, very disgusting moments. If you're into that shit, it's great. I would highly recommend it. If you're not, don't watch it. It's not for everyone. It's not for a lot of people, honestly. Because again, it was a lot. It was quite intense. Finally, the last movie I watched in January is Elvira, the Mistress of Darkness. I honestly don't know if it's pronounced Elvira or Elvira. Elvira seems more like the Italian way to pronounce it, so I'm gonna make an assumption and say that it's Elvira in English. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I apologize. I knew about Elvira, but I didn't know who the fuck she was. I knew the costume and everything, but I was like, I don't know, I got curious. I was like, who the fuck is Elvira? Let me check if she's like a movie character or something. I had honestly no idea. She seems cool. I want to be a fan of hers, but I don't even know who the fuck she is. So let me see this movie. And I was right. She is cool as fuck. She is amazing. From the movie, you get some information on who the fuck Elvira is, but I watched also this video about the actual story of the actual Elvira, not just the movie version, because in the movie version you don't know what's true and what's fake. Very cool video. I will put it in the description if anyone is curious to know more about her. But yeah, the movie was great. It was a dark comedy. Again, dark comedies are just a genre I really, really enjoy. And yeah, it's just a super funny, super awesome, very slay movie. Literally. There are a lot of boob jokes, which I saw the negative reviews of these movies. They were like, oh, too many boob jokes, but I thought they were funny. I thought they were fun. Like, I don't think they were sexualizing her. Like, she is sexy, but she's not a sexual object. I don't think we should cancel Elvira, Mistress of Dark, for having too many boob jokes. These liberals. I'm joking, I swear. And that's how my January ended. I'm watching other movies now. Maybe I'll do a video about them after February is over. But yeah, so I'm happy. I got to talk a lot about movies. I feel like I got it out of my system. I feel like this is exactly what I wanted to achieve. I'm happy I screamed in the void my opinions about these movies that no one cared about me besides me, but that's what matters. My opinion is the only one that matters, especially to me. To others, I hope their opinion matters more than mine. But anyway, I'm tired. I don't think I'm making sense anymore. Not that I ever made sense, but now even less than before. And I really need some cup of water. If anyone watches this, feel free to like put in the comments your movie recommendations or movie opinions. If you don't feel like it, that's also chill. I get it. I never comment YouTube videos, so I get you. I get you, bro. But yeah, actually, when you get over the awkwardness of filming yourself, this was a lot of fun. I enjoy talking. I think that's the thing. So, thank you for listening. Bye.